Every action you take, every decision you make, begins first as a thought. Your thoughts shape your emotions, your beliefs, and ultimately your destiny. If your thinking is negative, confused, or influenced by fear, your entire life will mirror that internal chaos. But if your thoughts are structured, rational, and purposeful, your world will begin to change in ways you never imagined. Thinking correctly starts with recognizing that your mind is your most powerful tool, not your enemy. To think correctly, you must first observe your thoughts as they arise. Ask yourself, why am I thinking this way? Is this thought based on fact or assumption? Does this belief help me grow or hold me back? When you learn to analyze your thinking instead of being controlled by it, you gain the ability to make conscious choices. Correct thinking isn't about being positive all the time, it's about being realistic, logical, and aware. Most people let emotions dictate their decisions. They react before they reflect. Correct thinkers, however, pause before responding. They understand that a single wrong interpretation can lead to a chain of poor action. So, they slow down, assess situations objectively, and base their decisions on truth rather than impulse. Moreover, thinking correctly means being open-minded yet disciplined. It's the balance between curiosity and critical analysis. You must be willing to learn from every experience, challenge your own beliefs, and refine your understanding daily. Every piece of information, every failure, and every success becomes a lesson when viewed through the lens of correct thinking. In essence, your thoughts are like seeds. What you plant in your mind determines what will grow in your life. So, nurture your thoughts with wisdom, clarity, and purpose, because the quality of your thinking defines the quality of your existence. Most people accept their thoughts, beliefs, and habits as facts, never realizing that many of them were shaped by others, parents, teachers, society, or culture. To think correctly, you must learn to question what you've been taught and what you tell yourself. Ask why you believe something. Where did that idea come from? Is it truly yours, or just something you've repeated so often that it feels true? The greatest thinkers in history all had one thing in common: they questioned everything. They didn't accept opinions without evidence, and they didn't follow the crowd just because it was comfortable. Correct thinking requires the courage to doubt, to analyze, and to seek truth even when it challenges your comfort zone. When you start questioning your beliefs, you'll begin to uncover layers of conditioning that have silently guided your life. You might discover that some of your fears aren't real, they're inherited. Some of your limits aren't fixed, they're imagined. This realization gives you freedom. It allows you to rebuild your mindset based on truth, not tradition. Thinking correctly doesn't mean rejecting everything or becoming cynical. It means filtering what enters your mind, keeping what's real, and discarding what's false. When you ask the right questions, you sharpen your intellect. You stop accepting mediocrity and start seeking clarity. Every great transformation begins when you ask, "What if I'm wrong?" Because from that question comes awareness, and from awareness comes growth. Emotions are powerful. They can elevate your thinking or completely destroy it. When you allow anger, fear, jealousy, or pride to dominate your mind, they cloud your judgment and push you to make decisions you'll later regret. Correct thinking requires emotional discipline. You must learn to feel deeply but think clearly. When emotions rise, logic fades. The brain enters a reactive state, and instead of responding with wisdom, we react with impulse. This is why so many people argue, quit, or give up when things get tough, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack control. To think correctly, you must master the art of pausing. That short pause between stimulus and response is where wisdom lies. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means understanding them, recognizing what you feel, why you feel it, and what that emotion is trying to teach you. Every emotion carries a message. Anger might reveal injustice. Fear might expose uncertainty. Sadness might point to something you value deeply. But when you let those emotions drive your thoughts unchecked, they distort reality. A correct thinker uses emotions as signals, not commands. They observe them like a scientist, study their causes, and then choose the best course of action calmly. When you can stay grounded in moments of chaos, you become unshakable. Your thoughts remain sharp, your words measured, and your actions intentional. True intelligence is not just the ability to think fast, it's the ability to stay calm when everything around you is falling apart. Because when your emotions are balanced, your mind becomes your greatest ally. Most people make decisions based on how they feel right now, what brings pleasure, comfort, or ease in the moment. But correct thinking requires vision beyond the present. It's about seeing the bigger picture and making choices today that your future self will thank you for. The difference between average thinkers and great thinkers is simple. Average thinkers chase instant gratification. Great thinkers invest in long-term growth. Thinking long-term means understanding that real success, wisdom, and strength are built slowly. You cannot rush results without sacrificing quality. A correct thinker knows that patience is not weakness, it's power. They resist the temptation of shortcuts because they understand that every shortcut comes with a hidden cost. When you think long-term, you make decisions differently. You choose learning over entertainment, consistency over comfort, and purpose over pleasure. You stop reacting to every minor problem and start building strategies for the future. You no longer ask, what feels good right now? But instead, what will serve me best 5 years from now? Long-term thinkers don't panic when results are delayed. They know that real progress often happens quietly, behind the scenes, while others are distracted by quick wins. They understand that small, disciplined actions repeated daily create massive transformations over time. To think correctly, you must train your mind to look beyond the temporary. The world may chase trends, but you must chase principles. Every great builder, leader, or innovator you admire thought in decades, not days. Because while short-term thinking gives pleasure, long-term thinking gives power. One of the greatest signs of correct thinking is the ability to distinguish between what is true and what is merely believed. In a world flooded with information, emotions, and noise, many people confuse opinions with facts. They accept what feels right instead of what is right. But a disciplined mind questions, analyzes, and filters everything before accepting it as truth. To think correctly, you must develop the skill of mental clarity, the ability to pause and ask, is this proven or just popular? Is this based on evidence or someone's emotion? Do I know this for myself, or am I repeating what I've heard? Correct thinkers never let assumptions guide their choices. They understand that truth doesn't change just because opinions do. Most arguments, conflicts, and failures in judgment come from the inability to separate facts from interpretations. When you treat opinions like facts, you close your mind to growth. But when you seek truth with humility, you open the door to understanding. Correct thinkers rely on logic and evidence, not hearsay. They verify before believing, listen before judging, and reflect before reacting. They know that facts are not always comfortable. Truth can challenge ego, tradition, and even personal desires, but it's always the foundation of sound thinking. Remember, opinions are easy, facts are earned. Anyone can speak, but few can know. Thinking correctly means having the discipline to base your beliefs on what's real, not what's convenient. Because truth, no matter how uncomfortable, will always lead you forward, while opinions without proof will only keep you blind. One of the most powerful habits of correct thinkers is their ability to shift focus from what's wrong to what can be done. Most people waste their mental energy complaining, blaming, or replaying their problems over and over, but that kind of thinking only strengthens the problem itself. Correct thinking means training your mind to see beyond the obstacle and look for the opportunity hidden inside it. When you focus on problems, your energy drains, your creativity shuts down, and your emotions take control. You begin to feel stuck, hopeless, or overwhelmed, but when you focus on solutions, your brain activates its problem-solving mode. You become alert, innovative, and resourceful. Every great achievement in history was born from someone who refused to dwell on the problem and instead asked, "How can I fix this?" Thinking correctly means you don't ignore difficulties, you face them with logic, not panic. You analyze what's within your control and what's not, then direct your effort toward action rather than worry. This mindset transforms challenges into lessons and setbacks into stepping stones. Correct thinkers understand that complaining never builds progress, action does. They don't wait for perfect conditions, they create them. They know that every problem has at least one solution, and if they can't find it, they'll invent it. When your focus shifts from the obstacle to the outcome, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your clarity returns, and your life moves forward. Because problems are not meant to stop you, they're meant to train your mind to think better, sharper, and stronger. The quality of your thoughts is deeply influenced by the company you keep. If you spend time with people who complain, gossip, and make excuses, your mind will unconsciously adapt to that low standard of thinking. But if you surround yourself with disciplined, intelligent, and purpose-driven individuals, your mind will rise to match their level. Correct thinking flourishes in an environment that challenges your intellect, not one that numbs it. Great thinkers understand that conversations shape consciousness. Every discussion you have either feeds your growth or drains it. That's why correct thinkers are selective with their circle. They prefer deep conversations over shallow talk, ideas over rumors, and truth over comfort. They seek people who question, explore, and think critically, those who don't just agree with everything, but challenge them to see differently. When you are around thinkers, you are forced to grow. They make you reconsider your assumptions, sharpen your logic, and strengthen your reasoning. They remind you that intelligence is not about knowing everything, but about continuously learning. To think correctly, you must build a mental environment that nourishes clarity and wisdom. Read books that stretch your mind, listen to voices that inspire critical thought, and distance yourself from those who thrive on negativity and noise. Your surroundings can either be your greatest teacher or your silent destroyer. Correct thinking doesn't grow in chaos, it grows in the presence of order, truth, and challenge. When you choose to walk with thinkers, you don't just expand your mind, you expand your future. Thinking correctly is not something you learn overnight, it's a lifelong discipline. It's the art of mastering your own mind before the world tries to master it for you. Every great achievement, every strong decision, every meaningful change begins first in thought. When your thinking becomes clear, your actions become powerful. Remember, your life is a reflection of your mind. If you think small, you live small. If you think with clarity, purpose, and truth, you rise above confusion and control your direction. The moment you decide to think correctly, you begin to rewrite your reality. Train your mind daily, question deeply, feel, but don't let feelings rule you. Focus on truth, seek solutions, and surround yourself with wisdom, because once you master how to think, no one can ever control what you become.